So you want an M2, but you like both your kidneys? This could be the answer. So this is a 2015 BMW M235i. BMW introduced the 2 Series in 2014, replacing the 1 Series hatchback and coupe and separating them into the 1 Series and the 2 Series. On the surface, I think these cars are a great option. They do get a bit of a bad rap for their drivers crashing into trees every 5 seconds, but let's see what the fuss is about. Let's go for a drive. My first impressions are good, very smooth, gearbox is super smooth, engine feels nice. In a comfort mode at the moment and just cruising along. Suspension's quite firm, but it's what I'd want out of a sort of sporty coupe. Nothing too firm, nothing too harsh. Yeah, feels good. So this particular car has the commonly spec'd 8-speed ZF gearbox with the flappy paddles. This car was available in manual, but it's very rare. Not many people spec'd it, and there's not that many for sale. Right, so we're in comfort mode now on a country road. Let's see what this does. See if it kicks down. See what it feels like. Put my foot down now. Oh, wow, that is good. That sounds unreal. That 6-cylinder sounds really good. Very smooth, nice gear shift, quick. Yeah, the power's good. It definitely has a very sporty feel to it. I can't turn the indicator off. It's because BMW drivers don't use them. Yeah, it's got a super sporty feel to the coupe. Very nice place to be. One thing I will say about the interior is, and you might have noticed in some of the shots already, it's not that special of a place to be. And what I mean by that is, it's very similar to the lower spec 2 Series. When this came out, this was the top of the range, highest performance, the most expensive 2 Series ever made. It was before the M2 even existed, and the interior was basically the same as the standard options. So the interior isn't as good as I would want if I was buying this car brand new, but in the used car market, I think the interior is plenty good. The seats have good bolster and there's good bolster adjustment. This has the manual seats. There are electric seats you can get as well. Very comfortable, good, hold you nice and tight in the seat, so can't complain. Although they don't look as good as like the new M2 comp seats or the M3 seats. They look a little bit plain for my liking, but they feel nice when you're sat in them. So all the M235i's came with a leather interior, whether it was red, black or cream, but the non-M lights had this Alcantara low spec interior. The seats were really nice. I actually prefer those seats to these seats, like just purely aesthetics. They got this honeycomb Alcantara stitching. I think they look really good. I'll put some pictures up so you can see what I'm talking about, and I think they look more special than these seats do. I like the steering wheel, feels very nice and sporty. It's got a good size to it, good width, good girth. But saying that, this is the same steering wheel you get on all M Sport lines, so it's not as special as it could be, which is a bit of a theme with the interior of this car. Right, just manoeuvring now. I'm a big fan actually that it's got a manual handbrake, which you don't see in many modern cars. I'm a big fan of that. I'm not used to this sort of, you have to hold this unlock before you shift the gears, but parking sensors. But it's very easy to manoeuvre, good visibility, it's got parking sensors. As, thank you, paid actors. You can get ones with reverse cameras, but I'm not sure it's so essential in this car because it's quite a good size and quite easy to manoeuvre. This is where I'll whack it into a wall. Manoeuvrability is very good, visibility is very good. It's actually a very pleasant and easy car to drive, to be honest. It's not very daunting, it's not very intimidating. If you've driven any sort of, any car really, it feels like a hatchback, doesn't feel big. The sizing on the road is very nice, doesn't feel too wide, so on these country roads I can sort of place the car where I want in the lane. I'm not worried about getting my wing mirror taken off by someone coming the other way. So this car is the infamous N55, you might be able to hear. The 3-litre 6-cylinder turbocharged engine producing 335 pound-feet of torque and 322 brake horsepower. So the exterior of this car is very nice. I do like the look of these a lot. I think the body lines are very nice, that nice BMW signature line. You've got those headlights, which I really like. But I will say, for the top of the performance, top of the range, the performance option, for me it's not aggressive enough. When it first came out, obviously bear in mind the M2 didn't exist, I think it was aggressive enough, had a bit of a different bumper on the front and the rear, some bigger wheels, some different brakes, some lower profile. But since the M2 came along, you can really see how aggressive these cars can be with wider arches, bigger wheels. I don't know, I think the M2 really showed this car how it could and should have looked. So if you're looking into buying one of these, there's a high chance you're looking at the B58 M240i, which I understand. But if you're going to keep them both standard, I would say go for the car with the better spec. There's a lot of overlap on price, so this car ranges from like 15,000 to 17,000 pounds for a sort of good spec, good mileage, maybe, you know, 16, 17 if you want. Like this car was around that sort of price, and it's got, you know, decent amount of spec. You can go either end of the spectrum, so you can go down to 14, but it's going to be a low spec, high mileage car, all the way to the other end, you know, low mileage, high spec. But for me, I'd buy based on the spec you want rather than which car, unless you're going to modify it, because if you're going to modify the car, obviously the B58 takes the mods a lot better. You can make a lot more power than you can in the N55 without doing too much. But I would say in standard form, they're both very good engines. I really like the sound of this N55 and how it feels on the road. And if you keep it in stock, this is definitely fast enough. So there are a few drive modes in this car. You flip this little button down here and you can cycle through them. We've got Eco Pro, Comfort, Sport and Sport Plus. When you switch through the modes, sort of loosens up the steering and the throttle response. In some of the cars they do have adaptive suspension, which can be optioned. This car doesn't have it. I've heard mixed reviews on them. I've not driven one with the adaptive suspension, but to me a static suspension on this car suits it well. So let's flip between the modes and see what they all feel like. Let's whack it into manual by flicking that to the side, put it in sport by pressing the sport button. Not Sport Plus because it's not my car. I don't fancy turning the traction control off. It's about 2 degrees outside and wet, so we won't be doing that. But let's see what this car's about. We're in 5th gear. Gearbox shifts down super fast, to be fair. There's some cyclists here, which I'll do my best not to hit, although it's quite tempting. All right, down to 2nd, indicate round. The gearbox is really nice. It shifts super fast. Downshifts are quick. Upshifts are nice and quick. Wow. And that torque is pretty strong with that turbocharger. In 3rd. I can't see much, I'll be honest. Brakes feel good. Yeah, it feels really nice. Really like this. I'll leave it in automatic to see what it feels like, and we'll put our foot down. So you can definitely tell it sort of firms up the steering a little bit, and the engine feels more lively, revs it out a bit more. And let's put our foot down. Shifts down quicker. Nice. Feels good. Those are speeds that I won't say out loud, but it feels good, it feels comfortable, feels compliant. You could definitely chuck it in at this speed. I'd say it feels very nice. That sport mode really livens it up. So let's on the on the contrary, let's put it back into comfort, and then it shifts up, goes back down. It's 8 speed, so it sits in the, well, I don't know what its gear it's in, it just says drive, which is a bit weird. I'd rather it said what gear I was in, but hey, I'm sure there's an option to change that. And yeah, and then just sits around 1200 RPM at speed limit. So now I'm going to try Eco Pro and see what happens. It brings up a nice display here, and it goes all blue, which means I'm saving fuel. Charge power. And I'm adding miles per gallon, that's good. I don't know why anyone wants that. Let's get out of that. Let's go back to sport. This is what it's about. Oh. Wow. And I really like the steering, actually. I thought I was going to be, I thought I wasn't going to like it. I've heard it's got some light steering, but it feels really nice to me. Quite direct, very connected. The difference between Sport and Sports Plus is apparently just turning off the traction control. So it says Sports Plus, and then there's a little traction control symbol on the dash, and then it comes up and says Dynamic Traction Control activated. So being that it's not my car and it's a cold day, I'm going to go back down to Sport and leave it there. But I think Sport is plenty for the road, especially because this car only has an open differential. It does not have an LSD. They can be optional with LSD, but quite a rare option is M Sport LSD, and to fit it aftermarket is very expensive. So a lot of them are open diffs, which is why you see a lot of them stuffed into trees, to be honest, because people go Sports Plus, put their foot down, one wheel spin, boom, into a tree. So I won't be doing that. Speaking of spec on these cars, like I say, very important when you're looking to buy the car. There are a few main things to look out for. So the Harman Kardon system, which this car does have, you want heated seats, preferably electric. Some are manual. It's not a big problem. This is a manual seats, but it's electric. But it's heated, which is important to me. You've got the business nav, which is the bigger screen, and a lot of people put CarPlay on them, which I think is essential. The Pro Nav is about that big and looks a bit odd. So for me, those are some essential options. All of the cars come with speed limiters, but not all of them come option with cruise control. So if you're a bit of a motorway driver, maybe look out for one with cruise control. They do have the limiters, which basically just you set it to 80 miles an hour, or sorry, 70 miles an hour, and then it won't exceed that. So it can be used, but cruise control is the one to get. So let's talk about costs. How much does this car cost to run, buy, insure? I won't go into the exact figures, but as I said before, if you want a good spec, good mileage, you're looking around £16,000, probably a bit more for a good mileage, good spec option car. Insurance wise, obviously it depends on your age, area, etc. But these are cheaper to insure than the 240i's. The owner tells me he was looking at M240i as well, and the insurance was more expensive on those. So if that's something that's a big deal for you, your insurance price, to maybe look at the 235s, as I say. But generally speaking, a very good option for the price, good performance. As you can see, and here, very good performance, good practicality. You know, if you don't have kids, that would be a bit of a nightmare putting in the back there, but a very good option in the sports coupe sort of area for the price. So servicing is sort of just standard BMW pricing, nothing too exceptional. Reliability wise, these engines are very good, super reliable. There are a few problems that sort of come to the forefront over time. So we have oil leaks, just the usual sort of valve cover and oil filter housings, which can leak, but are not a major issue. They're top of the engine, relatively cheap and easy to do, but it's definitely something to look out for when you're buying them. Also, a few people have reported problems with the electric water pump online. When I'm doing research for this video, I've seen people talking about it. Not a major issue, but definitely something to consider and potentially look at if it's been done, or you know, something that's been addressed. Other than that, they have a plastic charge pipe which splits over time as it's plastic. BMW love using plastic on important things apparently. So a lot of people upgrade them to aluminium options, and to be fair, that's quite cheap, easy to fix as well. So generally speaking, very reliable, and that ties in with quite an affordable and sensible car, unlike other options. So would or should you get this car in 2025, especially over a BMW M2? For me, after driving it, yes. I haven't driven an M2, granted, but for the money, I think if you're looking at a BMW something I, or maybe even one of the other German alternatives, I think this should be high up the list. It does a lot right. It's a good price, decent, really reliable, quite rare, it's quick, feels great, it's comfortable when you want it to be, it's fuel efficient when you want it to be, and then it's super quick when you want it to be. So for me, I think it's a great option. So as I said, these cars are available in a manual. I would really like to try it in a manual. Although this ZF is really nice, I think a manual gearbox in this sort of small size coupe would be really fun and something I'd like to experience. And I do think it'll be the option to buy, you know, if you're looking for a sort of long-term car that will hold value or maybe even appreciate. Over the years, I'd give it 5-10 years. I reckon an M235i, M240i manuals will be the ones to have. If you are looking at the 1 Series or the 2 Series, the 135i's, the 140i's, all the I's. If you're looking at the I's, get a 2 Series. The coupe is so much nicer to me than the 1 Series, unless you're in desperate need of a hatchback and have children, or you need the extra space for lugging around big things, I don't know. But for me, it's a no-brainer. The 2 Series looks loads better. I don't know. For me, I don't even know why you'd consider a 1 Series over a 2 Series unless you need the space. I will mention the fact that the non-M2 comp is basically the same as this car, same engine, same interior, looks more aggressive. I think it's a waste of car. Either go for the 235i or the M2 comp. Don't bother with the non-comp. That's my opinion. So just manoeuvring around in a car park, and I'm in neutral revving like a twat because I've got a... So I get told how to reverse a car that I don't know how to drive. Fuck's sake, how embarrassing. This, but, well, they didn't do that, so I cut that out. Fucking hell, like that. Their drivers do get a bad rap. It's obviously the elephant in the room when looking to buy a car. How much does the car cost? That's not an elephant in the room. I'll start that again. Don't think it's got a nice grip, feels good in your hands. Don't know why I said it like that. Feels good in your hands. Porsche. Okay, I'll get one of them. All right.